Why do you actually throw the jab? But that's what I'm going to get into today. One of the things that I see a lot of people doing is the first thing they want to do is learn how. Well, we teach boxing backwards. How is number three. The first thing that you want to know is why you do something. And the reason why you want to know why you do it is because it makes more sense to you when you actually have to do the thing. The second thing that we do when it comes to teaching boxing is making sure that you understand when to do it. And when you understand when to do it, that's going to make it very obvious when you should do it. And then the third thing we teach you is how to do it. And that's where we give you this demonstration, practical training, put you through drills. Now, that seems as if it should make sense. And what we do different when it comes down to teaching why you do anything, like teaching the jab, why do you throw the jab, is because you typically want to learn how to do something first. Okay, so let's say you learn how to do the jab, right? You go out there, you throw the jab, guy counter, you throw it right hand, left hook over the top. Oh, because see, you wanted the technique first. And the technique wasn't the most important thing. What you needed to know is why you're doing it, when to do it, and how to do it is last. They teach how first, and then when, after the fact you've learned you shouldn't have done it at a particular time, and then you learn why at the end. And the end is why you lost the fight or the sparring match. Things that you should not be focusing on first is learning how. Because we teach boxing backwards, because what we teach you first is the principles. No, I'm going to give you one reason that you use the jab, but I'm going to go so deep that you know that there's going to be a lot more that you should have known about the jab. Because number one, jab is all about geography, right? Number one, geography inside of the ring. Where would you be and where will you be stationary in the ring and posturing yourself, right? This is what happens when you understand the principles of boxing. The principles will teach you all of the things that's relevant for you to know. So if you're going to throw a jab, you better know exactly why you're throwing it. You better know where you are in that ring, and you need to understand exactly what other functions that it actually possesses. So if you don't, what's going to happen is you're going to get clipped. I'm going to give you a little demonstration on what it looks like when you're doing this jab thing, right? So you step back, and if I say, hey, I'm throwing a jab, I'm throwing a jab, I'm throwing a jab, I'm throwing a jab, I'm trying to get my geography, pop, pop, and see, when you are educated, you understand how to box educatedly. You understand that you have to keep your head off the line. When you're throwing the jab, pop, you need to be off here. When you're throwing the jab, pop, that's up jab, you off the line. You're never on the line, right? And if you're going low, then you catch this, because if the right hand comes, boom, you have something to shield yourself. See, there are different things that you'll learn when you understand. First, I need to understand the principles of boxing, which is what not to do when I'm in this situation. And then start learning when to do the thing. And that's how you'll get better at boxing. See, the reason why you're so confused when you're learning is because you're actually doing it in reverse. You see, that's why we teach boxing backwards. That's why a lot of other channels, you run to flock to people who are giving you the actual demise. And so 13 people a year are dying in boxing because they're learning how to do something that they don't understand when to do it and why they're doing it. They think they know, but they're not putting enough time into the actual studying of it. All right. So this right here is a 6-week training camp. And the reason why we created this is because people really don't know how to run the training camp. Guys come in the training camp overweight. They come in the training camp without muscle memory. And then what happens is they get minimal out of that 6 to 8 week camp because they're focusing on undoing a lot of bad habits. So what it does is, remember being in the training camp, and we were getting prepared for Chris Bird, and we had fighters coming from all over the world. I mean, Chris Bird's a 2-time heavyweight champion, so you got to bring your A game. And so I remember coach bringing in the 6'3" super middleweight for our boxer who was going up against him because they needed someone with speed. So he got off the plane, boom, boom, come from Florida. And I mean, he had, hand speed, skills, angles. I mean, he was just very good. I'll never forget the dreadlocks. I can't remember his name straight off, but I do know that he was on the Olympic team alternate wise. And he was absolutely just dynamic. He reminds you maybe of I don't know. I'd like to say someone like Chad Dawson, frame wise. He was about 6'3", had really good reflexes, super long and wiry, but just had a great boxing cachet. And I remember him coming in there. He was very arrogant and he whooped one of our boxers' asses. But when he sparred against one of the fighters that I was training, Vinroy July, who ended up becoming a 27-2 professional, and he also was a lawyer and went to Carolina and Duke, and he was very, very solid with his boxing game. And I taught him serious body shots, teaching him how to really rake the body and keep his head off the line and box, right? And our boxing body attack was second to none. You couldn't find a better body attack system. We had a system of doing it. And one of the things that separated us is because I taught boxing from principles first. So what he was called to do, he knew how to do, and he knew why he was doing it. He wasn't just doing things that I was saying do without understanding what the benefit and the actual con of it is. So they called him after one of our guys got smoked in the ring. Come on in. Guy didn't even speak to me. Guy gets in the ring. My guy gets in the ring. Well, he was already in the ring. My guy wasn't even warm. Guy's in there, and Vinroy was a southpaw, and he's up in D.C. area, so you know what it is up there. So, boom. Baltimore. Sorry. Vinroy, pop, pop, pop. First round, raking him to the body. Bam, raking him to the head. Banging the dude out. He didn't have a second that he didn't win in the last sparring match, which was seconds before that one. And he didn't have a minute where he was winning at all in this one. And he was getting hit to the pie. We took no mercy on him. He didn't make it out of the first round. Everything kind of subsided. The bell rung. And he didn't take a second round. He knew then that he had been into something different that he had never witnessed. And that was this. He got out of the ring. He finally walked up to me and was like, I've never been attacked to the body like that. I never had my body smoked. Like, he was like, yo, I never been through anything like that. I've always had the upper hand. See, athleticism will get you so far until you reach the highest level. And I teach the highest level of boxing because I teach principles. That mean we miss nothing. And when he got out of that ring, he respected me enough to come over because I was working the other corner. And he was like, yo, boss, you guys putting in work. Lo, you think we could? No, I don't do that. I don't take other people's. And this 6-week training camp is what we were doing. This is masterful. It teaches you not just how to box, it teaches you the understanding of why. I love it because inside, this is a 6-week training camp because it's just like if you're a level 1 coach. You're a fighter, you really want to understand why you're doing it. We broke it all down. Everything, what to expect, continue, what to expect, guidelines for execution and regimen, benefits for boxing mediums, things that you guys don't even understand the vocabulary of, and I know you don't, even if you're a pro, because this is just another level. I learned from 3 professors, the George Bentons, Kenny Adams, all of these guys stacked on top of each other. Coach Anthony Bradley, like you just don't get that lucky. They were all military, boom, boom. And this is a 6-week guide, and follow it to a T. If you're going into a training camp, you need to understand how the training camp must operate. Those guys were military, so they actually did it in a way that most people will never, ever comprehend, saying, oh, I got to put time to do it the right way. Yeah. So what's going on, champ? I appreciate you, brother. Coach, I love your content. Yeah, I appreciate you. Tell me where you're from. How do I help my 14-year-old daughter to relax and sit on her punches? My recommendation is start teaching her the principles, right? If you tell your daughter there's a snake 25 yards away from the house You think she's going to go on the side of the street that the snake is? No, she's not, right? But if you wait until she get up on the snake and then yell, snake, then what's going to happen? She's going to panic. And that's what's happening with you allowing her to just do the thing. You need to prepare her mind. And this is a 6-week training camp that you have to follow everything that she needs to do to instill a muscle memory. So that's including knowing how to box, bend the knees, sit down in a stance, and learn how to throw combinations and bunches on both sides of the body, and not having to be told, keep your head off the line, not be having to be told to throw combinations, because she understands comprehensively that the opportunity is there to throw combinations. So she'll just naturally do it because in her brain it's been stamped when she should do it, how she should do it, and why she's doing it. And there's no confusion. So my suggestion, there's a link down below that goes up with every post. It automatically aligns itself. It's the School of Boxing. I'd enroll into the School of Boxing so you can get access to things to help groom her the proper way. I don't know how long she's been boxing, but my recommendation always, coach, is that you teach boxing backwards. First, you start with the principles, and then you start teaching them why, then when, and then how, not in reverse. We have 13 people fatally die every year because the first thing they learned was how, and they don't know how. How can you know how to drive a car first before you take your license test, right? You're not going to give someone license before they take the test. The test is learning, why do you press the brake versus the gas? Why do you turn right when it's a right turn? It's all commonality. And if we don't do it the right way, if we're not teaching boxing through principles, then what we're doing is feeding the algorithm negativity. We're feeding the algorithm improper techniques based on how you taught it, when you taught it. You taught techniques before you taught why. You don't tell a person, just eat green vegetables. You educate them on what green vegetables do. They repair broken down cells in the body so that your body can replenish. And that's why it starts to make sense and people will just do it then. You don't have to say, eat vegetables, that's why you're getting sick. No, you explain to them what actually happens. So that's what we call principles of life. And so if you want to learn the principles, there's a link down below that says the School of Boxing. That's where you can go for anyone who cares enough to teach boxing backwards. But as long as people are learning how to do something first before they actually are taught, then there's going to always be a mistake and there's going to always be casualties, whether that's in losses or lives. Because boxing is something you don't play boxing. So learn it and understand it, how to teach it. See, I'm a professor. I've been in the game for 4 decades. So anyone who wants to go against that, you got to show me 30 books. Go author 30 books, 30, and tell me you've been in the game for 4 decades. But if you don't know how to, if you ain't done that, then okay, let professors talk. So I'm hoping this really landed with people. When it comes down to the jab, if you want to get more information about the jab and the principles of that, then just make sure you comment the word jab down below. If you're a father working with their children, my suggestion is to visit the link down below in the description and join the School of Boxing and learn the process that 3 professors taught me directly. That is access to the history and 3 of the 5 heads that's on Mount Olympus of boxing. So if that sounds like you, then go down into the description and be blessed. So just remember, we teach boxing backwards. That separates us from everybody on YouTube, because that's the most important thing. And our agenda is to turn around those 13 deaths that's dying every year and make sure that that is not a thing anymore. So till next time, be blessed. If you got questions, make sure you go look at some of our other content. And that's a big, big way to start. Coach Bradley signing out. Be blessed at Godspeed. Just type hybrid. Who are you?
It doesn't matter who we are. What matters is our plan.